Today we're going to look at different ways to construct a kite. And so a kite is a quadrilateral where it has two distinct pairs of consecutive sides that are congruent. And if we're going to think of a true construction, which uses a compass and a straight edge, that's the first construction we're going to do here. We're going to pull up a geometry sticky. I'm going to turn off labeling. And I'm going to work with my compass and straight edge. So I want a circle, because what do I know about a circle? I know I can create congruent segments, which are radii, and consecutive means they are connected by a vertex, so I can create one of the pairs using this circle. So let's create, let's create our second circle first. Basically, I want two intersecting circles, and I'm going to change the color here. And now select a circle, and I'm going to make another circle and just make it intersect in two places here with my original circle. It doesn't matter how big or small I make it, because remember, I can change this circle as big as I want. What I'm interested in are these intersection points. So I'm going to select both circles. If I were working with a compass and a straight edge, in hand, I would mark these intersection points with the tool here. I'm going to construct the intersection points. And now I'm going to actually make the radii using those intersections, right? So if I make the radii from this circle to those intersections, I know these are congruent because they're both the radius of the blue circle. So I know they're congruent. And I also know they are adjacent or consecutive sides. Consecutive means in a row, so here's one side, and the next one right in row is the same. So that's one pair of consecutive sides that are congruent. I could add in my marker there to show they're congruent. And now let's do the same thing with the other circle. Get the, connect the center to those intersection points again, and I have made two radii of the red circle, which I also know are congruent, but they're not the same as that one, at least not in this image currently. So let's put in our marker there. And so now I have two pairs of consecutive sides congruent, right? So the two red segments and the two blue segments are consecutive, and they are, so I have two pairs. So this is an example of a kite. I'm going to hide the circles and the points I don't need. So I selected them, I go to this arrow here, and I go to visible, and I turn them off. And now here's my kite. And I can make it be many, many different kites, and those properties maintain this, except when I make it disappear, those properties remain the same. I could even make it be a concave. This is still a kite because what's the definition? Four sides quadrilateral with two distinct pairs of consecutive sides congruent. I could also make it be a rhombus, right? I don't know. I'd have to work really hard at making it be a square, but I probably could make it be a square too, depending on how I arranged it. So I can make all possibilities of a kite because of using construction tools. So that's one way to construct a kite. A second way, if we're not using strict construction where we're doing a compass and a straight edge, but instead we're using our geometry software, I can start off with the understanding of the properties of a kite, which are that the diagonal are perpendicular to each other, right? So they're one's a perpendicular bisector of the other. And so I can start off with the diagonal this time. So let's make the diagonal. Well, I probably should turn off my points, but I'm not going to. And let's make two sides. And we can start off with them different. It really doesn't matter. I have two different sides, right? So right now they look different. In fact, maybe we can even do the same thing we did before, change the colors. But now I'm going to use this idea that this is a bisector of a kite. It's a line of reflection, right? Symmetry. So now if I just take my two sides here and I reflect them. So I'm using the tool of the dynamic software to do this using a property of kites. So I'm going to make a reflection over this diagonal. And now I have my kite. I could even come back in and connect the other diagonal here. And since this is the line of reflection, these are on the perpendicular bisector, all these different properties. So now I have a different kite. It behaves differently from the other, but I can still do all of the things as well. But this was not using my compass and straight edge. It was using my properties of a kite and understanding that this is a perpendicular bisector that I can then use to help me construct using my geometry tools. So two different ways to think about kite and explore the different properties.